following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
Hey, it's another new day. And for the second day, we are here bringing you Cheap Pop Podcast. And for those of you that don't get it, like we had the episode drop last night, episode 55. And this episode will be airing on Sunday. So 2 nights ago, the previous episode dropped. And now we're giving another one to you. Bang, boom, pow, with the 1-2 punch. You know,
got to make up for it.
Exactly. So now that kind of goes in line with what we're going to be talking about today. Because, me and Alpha, my brother from another mother, we're going to get down on some double or nothing. We riding out to Vegas, baby. Woohoo! Which, by the way, did you hear SummerSlam has announced that it's going to be in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium.
Yep.
On a Saturday.
Be in fucking Vegas on a Saturday. It's going to be the good shit. But this time around, we're going to be starting with the Tony Khan flavored side of things with some double or nothing.
Yes. All right. So hold up. What I was doing right quick before we got started here was pulling up the event card as I usually do. We'll kind of do a screen share here in a minute. Let me run down the finales and then we'll break it down match by match, starting with the pay-per-view opener. Serena Deeb, the NWA Women's Champion, caught a victory over Riho in the pre-show match. First time I've seen Riho in a while. Adam Page picked up a huge win over Brian Cage, and that's too many ages in there for me. But in a singles match to open, the Young Bucks retained their tag team championships against Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. Jungle Boy will be getting World Heavyweight title shot after winning the Casino Battle Royal. We'll get to that in a minute. Like that was good. I really like.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Cody Rhodes defeated Anthony Ogogo. We'll touch on that one too. Miro retained over Lance Archer.
Fucking
Britt
fantastic
Baker.
fashion.
Yes, he did. Britt Baker took her rightful spot as AEW Women's Champion by beating the longtime champion Hikaru Shida in what was a pretty epic match, but I saw one flaw with it. I told the Alpha that we'll get to. And then that was followed up by Darby Allin and Sting ass of I didn't know they were called the Men of the Year. That's pretty tight. Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. So that was a pretty epic match, and it was nice seeing Sting back in there doing his Sting thing.
Yeah,
and he seems more at home in AEW than he really did. He seemed like a small fish in a big pond in WWE. He seems like a right-sized fish for this pond in AEW.
I agree.
Kenny Omega retained over Orange Cassidy and Pac, and which has to be a match of the year candidate with the triple threat match for the AEW championship. And then the Inner Circle gets to stay together as they defeated, I believe this is the second year. No, the Elite won last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
The Elite versus the Inner Circle one. Yeah. So the Inner Circle gets to win this year over Pinnacle.
Got their heat back a year after.
Yeah. And so they ended up being able to stay together because one of the side tricks to that was that they wouldn't be able to stay together if they lost that match. So, all right, brother. So let's bring up our screen.
Start from the top.
Yep. Let's see. There we go. All right. Now, the only match that I did not catch, my friend, is the Serena Deeb and Riho match, because that was a pre-show match, and I didn't watch the pre-show part. I only watched the main event.
Honestly, but just to begin it off, Serena Deeb rarely ever has anything less than a really good match in the ring. Even if she doesn't come at it with the most compelling story in the fucking world, she's able to cohesively put together a match so well. It's pretty standard level for a Serena Deeb match. Yeah. And it went fucking great. And I'm always happy to see the NWA championship, especially the women's championship, defended on AEW TV. I think Serena Deeb is fucking awesome, and that totally doesn't come from my bias of fucking loving the straight edge society or anything.
Yeah, every once in a while I have to remind myself that she was that girl.
She was the girl
during that time with Punk, that she's been around that long. You know,
she has.
But yeah. And it never fails that she would put on a good match. I would agree.
Yeah. She's developed into probably one of the most reliable women in wrestling that I can think of off the top of my head. In terms of just reliably putting out a bang of a fucking match. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right.
And coming after that, we've got Paige versus Cage.
Paige versus Cage. The cowboy. The drunk cowboy. I love this match because I always love when a match is starting to set up either somebody breaking away from a faction to be on their own, or a faction kind of falling apart. And I thought as much as this match kind of seemed random at first, despite the build that we've had on it on Dynamite, it just kind of seemed like, okay, what issues do these dudes have with each other? But as by the end of this match, I got the overall point of, okay, this is more about Cage setting up to strike out on his own. And I'm loving that, because he's somebody that I think he may need a mouthpiece. I haven't heard him cut a promo before, so I don't know if he needs a mouthpiece, but I know he definitely doesn't need a team. Like somebody that big, dude, you definitely don't need a team. So I definitely like that. And you get the rub for Adam Page that he now gets lifted into what I believe is going to be, by the time we get to All Out, will be his World Heavyweight Championship shot. So I
really like the psychology with Adam Page's whole character over the last 4 months. I haven't really gotten to voice it, but Adam Page's whole character development over the last few months has been fucking spectacular. And as you know, Brian Cage was one of the original men that I brought in for Alpha's Wrestler of the Week.
Very true.
I fucking love Cage. I've watched his entire run in Lucha Underground from start to finish, his entire run in Impact start to fucking finish, and I've thoroughly enjoyed all of his work in PWG. I fucking love Brian Cage.
Hell yeah.
But obviously, like most people, we expected to walk into this with another notch in the Adam Page and the Dark Order sort of story, right?
Right.
But as you said, nah. This was all about Brian Cage and his face turn against Team Taz. And this is a really interesting move to go around, because probably when you look at Team Taz, I don't think it's wrong to say that Cage is probably, out of all of them, the most potential to be the biggest. Not physically, but to make something out of himself in this business. Cage has the most potential. Yeah. He's the most potential out of everyone in Team Taz.
Very much so. Very much so. 100%. No disagreement here. I think the man's athletic, and you want to talk about being able to move for a big man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spaceman planches off the second rope as a man who's over like at least 230, 220 pounds. Yeah, no shit.
Oh, when he attempted to hit that buckshot lariat, I was like, holy moly, Jesus.
He can move, I promise. He's got the Lashley effect. I like to say all them big ass muscles, bro, they're full of helium. Because them motherfuckers are aerodynamic as shit for no reason, I promise.
Oh, man.
Cage and Lashley both. Quote me on it.
And it built to a legit finish with, like you said, Brian Cage having that moment of, I'm not going to cheat to win. Get out of here. And then you have Adam Page. He gets just distracted enough for Adam Page to hit the buckshot lariat and get the win. I love when JR says that buckshot lariat. Yeah, baby. Right on.
He does it so well. He calls it so fucking good.
All right. So that match was a great way to open, hot way to open, especially with a live crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Really got the crowd juiced. And that took us into the next match, which was Young Bucks taking on Eddie Kingston and John Moxley. Now, I have to give credit where credit's due. They're being a little bit different than WWE in how they're doing their little montages before the match.
Oh, they're vignettes, yeah.
Yeah, they're little vignettes. It's like a mini episode of Dark Side of the Ring. Like if you watch it, like it's like a little mini episode of Dark Side of the Ring. And I kind of get it. I kind of get it.
they're kind of built up like you remember like 9 years ago how UFC fights used to be built up before coming up events. It's kind of like it's
Mhm.
kind of approached like that in the way that it's built. It's not like uber dramatic like that, like, but it does dig into the whole like we're just gonna sit you down and talk to you with the fisheye lens. The
And tell
back is
you
going to
what.
be blurred out, and you're going to say something intimidating. obviously, for someone like Moxley and Kingston, it fits very well.
Now, I got to say this, and I'm only going to say this once because I know, we got to kind of got to keep it moving. But look, Young Bucks, we get it.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't like WWE. That's the competition.
Oh my fucking god!
All the references are
Yeah.
just getting old. It's just getting old
Yeah.
and repetitious. I will say they did get me with one thing during that vignette when they're like, Moxley, you're not one of us. You're the guy from the other place. And I was just like, all right. That was kind of good.
I liked that because that to me that had shades of Bianca Belair fighting Charlotte while screaming, "You don't even go here." it was shades of that.
Yes, sir. I had forgotten about that, but yes, sir. But yeah, so and the match itself for me delivered.
Yeah.
But it delivered exactly what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I expected the Young Bucks to keep the titles. I expected to kind of be a brutal, drawn out like battle because Moxley doesn't do squash matches. You know, like John Moxley does not. He does battles. He does wars.
He does 30-40 minute wars.
Exactly. And him and Eddie Kingston gave us 21 minutes of their life that took about 20 years of their life off the ledger, trying to get the AEW World Championships. What's your thought on that match, sir?
Yeah, man. The physicality was amazing. I always love seeing the Young Bucks be disgusting, slimy heel Bucks. Like I love face Bucks, but I love douchebag asshole Bucks where they make fun of everything around them. And it's an interesting position to grab someone like Mox and Kingston and really try hard to be pushing them as the biggest face. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of easy to make that organically when you have the Bucks who play douchebags just so fucking well. And so it's very easy to instantly just get behind Kingston and Mox, and the finish showing shades of that. It's fucking awesome. It was great not to have it come down to an uber clean finish. I think, you know what I mean.
Very much so. Very much so. I don't know what these Dior Jordans are. I ain't never heard of them. Maybe that's because I'm getting old. But yeah. I'm glad that he took them and he hit them because they look like douchebags and nothing named Jordan should be on their feet at all. So, but yeah, now Young Bucks retain. I'm assuming that this little thing that they have going with Kenny Omega, we're going to continue to see it for a while because I don't think anybody's dethroning Omega. I think when they agreed to I think the reason why they waited to put the belt on Omega for so long is because they wanted to do this belt collector gimmick and they wanted to do it for an extended amount of time. So, and actually, I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that Andrade showed up in AEW makes me believe, or not Andrade, was it something Del Olio or something like that?
Oh, no, it's, Andrade Del Idolo now, which is... basically a mix of his catchphrase in the indies and his name in WWE, much like how when the guy who played the original Sin Cara, when he transitioned to WWE, he stopped being Mystico and became Sin Cara. And then when he left WWE and came down to Mexico, he mixed them both and became Caristico.
Nice.
Mystico and Sin Cara, Caristico. And now instead of Andrade or El Idolo La Sombra, we have Andrade El Idolo.
Okay. So him showing up in AEW honestly makes me believe that Kenny's going to keep the belt.
Yeah.
Like if he had just been cutting promos down in AAA and only stayed down in Mexico and was wrestling matches for them, then I might believe, okay, he's coming in to take the belt off of Kenny and he's the legit, champ of down there. But the minute he stepped foot in Daily Center, I'm like, nope, Kenny's keeping the belt. Oh, well.
It is one of those things, that you're building a good, deeper story, but it's instantly like, oh, I know where this is going now. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's what upsets me when AEW, when these overhyped AEW fanboys always go, AEW is so brand new and shiny. No, it's not. AEW is not predictable. It's just as predictable as WWE. It's just a matter of, do you have the knowledge or the experience watching wrestling to notice the patterns? Have you watched wrestling? If you watch, there's a certain number of hours. I haven't quite figured out what it is, but there's a certain number of hours of wrestling that once you reach that part, there is nothing more new for you to see. Yeah, once you've reached that magical number, there's nothing more new for you to see. And some people reach it by the time they're 10. Some people don't reach it till they're 20. Some people don't reach it till they're 30. But there's a certain number of hours of watching wrestling where it's just like, okay, dude, I'm just seeing, okay, new faces, same stories. Works for me. Let's go. You're either a wrestling fan or you're not. Like there's only so many fans out. There's only so many stories out there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Wrestling fans don't want new ideas. They want same ideas, new people.
Right.
There ain't shit wrong with
that. Now this next match, man, I got to be honest. This is gonna sound horrible, bro. This is gonna sound real horrible.
Go do it.
I was not impressed with this match until it got down to about the final 4.
Okay.
I truly was not like, I was engaged. I was watching, but I truly wasn't like engaged. Like, and the way I know this is because when it got down to Matt Hardy, Private Party, Jungle Boy, and Christian Cage.
Yeah.
I was like, and they're like, this is it, folks. I'm like, wait a minute, this is
it?
Oh, we down to the last people? Oh, okay. Well, let me start paying a little bit of attention. And then when, shit got good and Private Party got thrown out, and then they threw out Matt Hardy, and then especially the last segment with Jungle Boy and Christian Cage, like, I was fully invested, because at that point I wanted to see if AEW was going to make the mistake.
Yep.
Because I'll be honest with you, if Christian Cage goes over in that moment, it's a mistake. Yep. Jungle Boy is the only way that they had to go with this particular victory and those particular people. But
you're right.
Thoughts on the Casino Battle Royale, sir?
Oh my fucking god! It's they usually do these Battle Royale matches so fucking well, in my opinion. This one kind of flopped for me a little bit up until the final bit. I really wanted to see more out of Rush. I needed to see more out of Leo Rush. I fucking love Leo Rush. And I know I don't want to be the dude who's like, oh, it's my favorite dude, push him to the moon. I don't need you to push him, but give me more than 35 seconds of Leo Rush, please.
Bro, I was right there. When he went out, I was like, that's it? Like, all the hype.
Leo Rush came out. I popped off. I popped, bro. Leo Rush gets sent out as fast as fucking Chelsea Green in the last Women's Royal Rumble. And I'm supposed to be happy with this.
Yeah.
And like, as it came down to it, I was like, okay, no matter what happens, it's going to be Christian Cage and it's going to be Jungle Boy for one big reason. This is a show not written by writers. It is written by the men who wrestle in the ring for the most part. Kenny Omega fucking loves Jungle Boy. Both Jungle Boy and Christian Cage have voiced a serious amount of shit about badly wanting to wrestle Omega on a really high level stage. Yeah. And even for a short period of time, because of how AEW is booked, not so leniently, but so like buddy, like, oh yeah, I'll put you over, bro. I'll do that for you. I'll put you over with that move, that spot. That's how you can literally see it. That's not an accusation. You can see it in the way it's presented.
Yep.
It's 100% believable to look at this and say, they would all want Jungle Boy to go over in this situation. Yeah. And that's not to say that he didn't deserve it, but that's the only reason I saw it coming.
Yeah.
Am I happy with it? Absolutely. Because if it was anyone else, it wouldn't have made any fucking sense.
Oh, and also here's another reason why I say Jungle Boy was the right choice. Listen to that crowd.
Oh, listen to the pop.
Don't get me wrong. Christian is popular. Christian is over, but I don't think the pop is as authentic if Cage wins. I think we get the yay. We're gonna get to see Christian fight for a championship. But with Jungle Boy, it was like
it's
like
different.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like it was a complete different reaction. And so that's why that's another reason why I say they had no choice. Like Jungle Boy was the only answer in this, because you want that type of energy out of that crowd, especially if it's your first live crowd back in like over a year. Like you want that.
Keep making that a point for me, because that's going to be something I bring up later. Keep making that point for me.
To me, it was kind of like the reason I felt like Bianca Belair had to go over with Sasha Banks at WrestleMania, because you have the crowd there, you know, for the first time in a long time, and you want that genuine, like that moment that everybody's going to go home going, yes.
That's the fucking send off. That's the heroic win of the show.
Exactly. And I think that the Jungle Boy win in this Casino Battle Royal was that for this particular pay-per-view with AEW.
Absolutely.
Just a side note real quick before we move on to the last match before we go to break. Bro, they said that AEW's total buys worldwide for Double or Nothing were 119,000. So I was laughing at this, thinking to myself, like
119,000?
Well, you got to remember, a lot of people watch like me, and they watched it on a free stream as opposed to paying for it back in the day. So it got me interested in like, what was the most pay-per-view buys like ever for a pay-per-view?
Yeah.
And I found out that for WWE, it's for all time, it's an MMA fight. It was the Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz fight. Did like 1.6 million pay-per-view buys.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I believe it, because it's McGregor versus Diaz.
Right.
Motherfucker, dude.
But
that's a lot of fucking buys.
But not that far off was WrestleMania 28. The first matchup between Rock and John Cena.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. You're right.
There was
once in a lifetime broke the record.
Yes, it was 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. But I was just like, holy shit. But then as I started looking through the numbers of other pay-per-view buys through the 90s and early 2000s for WWE, 150,000 was pretty standard. Even back in the 90s, like during the peak of the Attitude Era, the standard was more around, the low-end standard was more around 300,000-400,000. You know what I'm saying? But like as you get closer to the 2000s with streaming and pirating and all that, the numbers did get down around like 130,000 around average. And so now I understood why AEW was kind of flaunting the number 119,000, because at first I was like, damn, that's got to be pathetic. But no, that's actually pretty good numbers pay-per-view wise, considering like you said,
the current standards.
Right, the current standards. Now I'm pretty sure that, and see, WWE is in a position where, just to close out the subject, WWE is in a position where they don't have to worry about pay-per-view buys, because there are literally 43 million people subscribed to the Peacock app. So depending on what level they're subscribed to, like that's up to 43 million people that have the option to click on that pay-per-view at any time. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like WWE's numbers for their pay-per-views are probably significantly higher, but only because of that fact. Only because of the fact that you have the app.
Because they have the platform to do it.
Right. So, okay. So sorry about that side tangent. I just thought I'd bring it up because I was reading doing some reading on it. But
please drop the numbers.
Yeah. Then the next match, I ain't gonna lie, I got up and fixed myself lunch. Like I ain't got something to drink.
You know, we call that around here in Alpha's house, we call that a motherfucking piss break match. Piss break match.
I just wasn't. It has nothing to do with me hating Cody Rhodes. Like it doesn't. I really don't give a shit that Cody Rhodes went over, because if you're getting in a ring with a dude that's only been in the ring 4 or 5 times on a nationally televised pay-per-view, I would expect Cody Rhodes to go over, dude. Like dude's only had like 3 or 4 matches. No reason to put him over now and give him that legendary win over Cody Rhodes.
You're right.
But like it wasn't really a match that I was just like, oh my God, I have to see this.
I understand why the match happened, and I like that it happened, but shit, it's like I've said before, man, Cody works this really, really specific type of wrestling style, and you can't really pin it down like you can other people's style. You look at Omega, you look at Okada, you look at Styles, you look at Orton, Cena, Triple H, anyone that's active right now that has a very notable style that you can pin down. Cody's style is probably the most specific out of anyone I can think of, because he was brought up by WWE's system. Yeah. And he has this WWE mindset that you have to care about why they're fighting, less about them fighting, more about why, right, which is very fair. He's a great storyteller, but he works this very slow and methodical style. When paired with somebody as fucking greenhorn as Anthony Ogogo, he's not a complete fucking amateur. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect, but compared to everybody else on the card, there's a bit of a gap here.
No, big time.
It worked to their detriment in the pacing of this match, especially when set in the middle of Young Bucks, Jungle Boy's big win, then Miro and the Britt Baker match, and then you kind of have this as a little buffer in the middle.
Now, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you brought it up in that way.
Yeah.
I called this match a showstopper.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is they have built up a lot of momentum, especially with the win of Jungle Boy during the Casino Royale match. This match kind of stopped that energy momentum.
Yeah.
Partially because the crowd didn't even really seem to care about it, but it wasn't really that top level match. I liken it to the Daniel Bryan 18-second loss to Sheamus at WrestleMania. I believe it was like 18.
WrestleMania,
or not,
was
it 20 something?
That was 20, not 27, 28. I think that might have been 28. That was New York. That was 28.
Was it? Okay.
No, wait. That was 27, because I remember 27 was The Miz defending. 28 was Once in a Lifetime. 29 was Second in a Lifetime Part 2. That was WrestleMania 29. That was New York, because that's when CM Punk came out with the Cult of Personality, and they announced him out because it's New York's very own. That was 29. Mania 29.
So that to me was a showstopper. That show was hot, and it just stopped all the momentum energy-wise it had with this boom victory for Sheamus. I love the fact that Sheamus won it. I love the heat that he drew from winning it like that.
Yeah.
But it was just a momentum stopper, because you had all these decent matches before it that were slowly getting better. Then you have this match. And then you kind of have to slowly build momentum from there. And when we come back from the break, that's what we'll talk about, is how they built up momentum, rebuilt momentum in the second half of the pay-per-view, and established a solid finish with the Stadium Stampede. So that's what we're talking. We're talking Kenny Omega and Pac. We're talking Orange Cassidy. We're talking all the good stuff after the break. You guys are listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast, or you're watching us here on YouTube. Thank you for that. And we'll be back after the break. Peace. You're listening to the Cheap Pop Podcast right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network. Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and wherever you may find your favorite podcasts.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast, spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday, with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Game ticket, $50. Hot dog, $8. Team store item, $25.
I told him I can beat him with one hand tied behind my back, with some glasses on, with one eye lens out, with some flip-flops on in the ring.
Having you listen to someone's dumb sports opinions? Worthless. Some people shouldn't talk sports. For everyone else, there's the Unspoken Podcast, available on most podcasting platforms, and on the web at theunspokensportspodcast.weebly.com.
And we are back. That's me again. Double K, double. Boy Alpha, how you doing, brother?
The big A. And this time we're gonna be hitting you with some motherfucking Tony Khan's fleshy, sweaty toy house. The other half of Double or Nothing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, it's ironic that you say it like that, because I was just thinking to myself the other day, and I think I said this on an earlier episode. AEW just kind of feels like a bunch of wrestlers got together and they're having fun. I just say be careful, because people forget that one of the biggest issues with WCW was certain wrestlers having too much creative control. Just watch
Nash
it.
moment.
Yeah. So, but let's get back to this pay-per-view. Double or Nothing.
There we go.
So as I talked about before we went to the break, to me, the Cody Rhodes Go-Go match was kind of a momentum stopper as far as energy. The next match took 10 minutes to get most of that energy back.
Oh, yeah.
And that was Miro taking on the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, and beating him by basically technical knockout, by basically getting him to pass out by choking him out. And brother, let me tell you, Rusev, Miro, whatever you want to call him, the man is a beast. And when he's in that, pardon my French here, Bulgarian brute mode, I love watching him work. And in that match against Archer was awesome. Everything. I want to know what was in that bag he threw into the crowd, though, because I know good and damn well it wasn't a snake. Like, I know AEW and Tony Khan and them ain't stupid enough to really let a dude throw a snake into the middle of the crowd. So I want to know what was really in that bag. But,
shit.
Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, man. It was this was such a great mix of so many fucking things. Like we have spent the last almost a year now. Holy shit, man. It's been almost a year, hasn't it? Sorry. Almost a year now of seeing Miro. This match was Rusev Machka. This was different. And I loved that. This showed Miro's comedic side without breaking character. And it still managed to have Miro come off as a fucking killer by the end. I'm so fucking happy with this match. It's not even real. I love Haas fights already, but when you drip an angry Russian and a giant angry fucking white dude in there and tell them to just start beating the shit out of each other, you've already got my money. Take the shit.
Amen. Yeah, like that meme says, just shut up and take my money.
Take my money.
Yeah, I was 100. And let me say this: Lance Archer impressed me. I've seen
Lance
him work
Archer
before.
Has progressed so well, dude.
Yeah, but exactly, he has progressed very well, and very well in storytelling. Because that was what I was most impressed. Is he came out with a purpose. You know, they gave us the setup with Miro punching Jake Roberts at the buy-in on Friday night, and they gave us that setup. And Lance Archer came right out the gate hot, and I love the storytelling of it.
Yes.
You know, so I have to give him a lot of, like you said, developing as a wrestler and developing as a character are two very important things for every wrestler to do. And I think Lance Archer has taken his time in AEW to very much do that.
Yeah. And I know I harken back to this idea a lot, but it's very important that when I was a kid and I saw Lance Archer before, he had long hair with his little fucking tights on WWE CW television. I remember sitting there as a kid and I was like, wow, this dude fucking sucks. And then he went to New Japan and still kind of sucked. It took him 2 to 3 years. And now Lance Archer is a fucking menace. And I love it. He's got such a well thought out moveset to go along with his look and his shape. It's fucking great. And I couldn't have predicted it, but Jake Roberts being paired with him was such a good fucking idea. It has panned out so well. And this is one of those matches where, despite the fact that Lance Archer lost emphatically, this is one of those things where I feel like Lance Archer still came out of this looking better.
Oh yeah. And don't get me wrong, the pass out finish is kind of cliche. You know, it is. And it's nothing against the guys who did it. It's nothing against the guys who booked it. It is. You know, like dating back to Stone Cold and Bret Hart and Stone Cold passing out before tapping out. You know, it's a good way. But I, as much as I call it passe, to do it, or when it's done, it's a great way to keep your big guy looking strong while still taking the loss.
You're right.
Because I agree with a lot of people when they say it was obviously way too soon to be trying to take the TNT title off of Miro, because he just won it like last month or like a couple months ago. So like you definitely don't want to take it off of him, but you had to give him somebody that was going to be believable to be able to give somebody of Rusev's size, to give somebody of Miro's size an actual challenge.
You're right. Got to give him the Haas fight.
Yep.
Let's roll on to the match that is probably like top 3 most talked about, right?
Yeah, I would say. But okay, I'll put a spin on it like this. I definitely believe it's top 3 most talked about, but primarily because of who won the match.
Yeah.
You know, I think the quality of the match was great. We talked about this, and I'll bring this point up now. I loved the physicality of the match. I even loved the fact that Rebel fucked up.
Yeah.
And Britt still won the match. Like, I love that fact. But there was entirely, in the last like 2.5 minutes of that match, there were entirely too many false finishes. It felt like it was like, do a move, false finish. Do a move, false finish. Do a move, false finish. And it was like, okay, I get it. Like, and then when it started going the other way, do a move, false finish. It was like, okay, look, we need to wrap this shit up. Like,
give me a period on the fucking sentence, dude.
Exactly. It made me wish I had one of those Dave Chappelle machines. You hit it, plays the music, wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
But bravo to Britt Baker for, or if I want to be funny, I'm going to call her Adam Cole's wife. But no, congratulations to Britt Baker on winning her first championship gold in AEW. She deserves it. The characters that she's built is easily one of the top female heel on AEW, and is one of the top female heels I've seen in the past about 5 years. Ranks right up there with, and I don't care what anybody says, Sasha Banks is one of the best fucking heels. When she's bad, I love that girl to death. And so
nobody can harness go home heat like Sasha Banks.
Exactly.
Sasha Banks eats, channels, and shits out go home heat like a fucking pro. As much as I hate her ass, she's great at it.
Exactly. And so Britt Baker for me has gotten up to those levels. Now, do I think that she's gonna change women's professional wrestling? Nah, she's just the next good heel to come along. Like, and there'll be other ones after her.
Putting it. That is a great way of putting it. Like in the beginning, Britt Baker did have a little bit of go home heat with me. She did have a little bit of like, you know, this isn't even like the good kind of heel. This is a waste of my time kind of heel in the beginning. And it was that for a minute. But I'm going to admit, physically, she has developed extremely well. She had the same problem that Carmella had in the beginning. Her moves had no impact. They had no pop, you know? Now there's a kind of impact to the way that she moves, and her spots have some real snap to them. I like that. And I like to see that. And so at this point, they've been building Britt Baker up for so long that, I concede. I admit that over this long, such a time, and building it up so long and so well, I believe that it was the time at this point, too, for Hikaru Shida to give it up. It was just simply the time.
And I thought that overall, and I'll be honest with you, this was a perfect climax to one of the best told stories since AEW's inception. They took an entire year to build this story. They built both of them up by not really having them interact with each other too much over that extended period of time. It reminds me, and I'm not going to put it on this level because this was epic level, but it reminded me of how they did John Cena and The Rock the first time around, where all you really saw was them cutting vignette promos on each other, and they really didn't interact until like a couple of months before that WrestleMania where they fought. But it was just you'd be watching a pay-per-view and all of a sudden you see a promo from The Rock on John Cena. And I was actually at the Hell in a Cell one where he did the Fruity Pebbles
are you promo. Fucking serious? You were there for the Fruity Pebbles promo?
Yes, it's the only it's the only other WWE pay-per-view I've ever went to live outside of WrestleMania itself when it was in Santa Clara. Me and my boy went Hell in a Cell. We were sitting third deck and we watched that promo on the big screen when he came in with the box of Fruity Pebbles and
good.
Man.
It's got to be so fucking good.
But to me, that
one of the smallest fun facts about Alpha is that my parents were there for the Kurt Angle milk truck.
Ah, nice.
My parents were there for the Kurt Angle milk truck.
Yes, and that's a huge moment, bro. I will never forget that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, congratulations. And the match was physical as hell. These girls beat the holy shit out of each other. And once again, here's what's funny. I'm talking about another Britt Baker's match, and I'm saying how this match on the flip side showed you don't need blood to have a brutal match. You don't. And I love that.
You can make cringeworthy physicality without some color. I love me some color. But don't overuse it is my thing. Don't fucking abuse the color.
Well, I was gonna say, like, man, there was I'll put it to you like this: the triple threat main event had me saying, "Oh fuck, is he okay?" At least 5 or 10 times. But congrats to Bit Breaker. For time reasons, we'll go on ahead and move on. I like this match, and I like this match because Sting gave us Sting. And maybe this is the only time he'll wrestle for another long while. But Sting for one night, for fucking 12 minutes, Sting gave us Sting. And I love the ring psychology of how they played him up as the beast of the match. I loved it. You know, Scorpio Sky getting himself hyped up to fight the Icon was one of my favorite moments of the entire pay-per-view. Like, so definitely great stories told in this match. And of course, the right people won the match. But your thoughts on Darby Allin and Sting beating up the men of the year?
Yeah, the men of the year. Okay, I kind of like the team of Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. I'm not used to seeing Scorpio Sky outside of SCU. I'm not used to seeing Ethan Page outside of Impact. Seeing them both out of their element is something I do actually kind of like. I love Darby Allin and Sting as this weird father-son mute fucking duo. I fucking love it. It's literally Sting is don't talk to me or my son ever again, and it's just fucking Darby Allin. It's great, but. It was really, I'm sure we all expected Sting to kind of come about this like he did his last showing. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know? We're understanding of that. Sting did not do that. Sting did not even come in his fucking Impact attire with a shirt on. No. We got Sting authentic to the fucking bone. Leotard, gloves, and Stinger splash and all, and it was fucking great. It was fucking awesome. Sting came in full Sting force, and it's great to see him still being treated as a genuine fucking threat, especially when set along 3 other talented young men.
Amen. And we got it all. We got the Stinger splash. We got the Death Valley drop. And we got the Scorpion Deathlock. We got it all.
Yeah.
Amazing to see, and it was amazing hearing that crowd going off. You still got it.
That
was just awesome. But I'll say this, okay, and I noticed this issue at WrestleMania 33 as well when I was there live. fan interaction or fan reaction in open roof stadiums or like Levi's Stadium and stuff like that, or like Daly's Place, are not a good fit acoustically. It takes so much out of the crowd noise to not have that reverb coming in off the roof. I thought it kind of killed some of the energy watching it at home for me, watching the pay-per-view. I'm pretty sure the energy was probably off the charts there, and that matters. But I think having that open air like that really let a lot of that sound out when it should have been reverbing and coming back down. Like the entire crowd singing Judas should have been amazing, but I felt like so much was lost because it was just lost to the stratosphere.
You're right.
And so
I didn't think about it like that. In an open stadium definitely makes a difference. And one of my most unpopular opinions is that one of the best stadiums they ever ran was Mania 26, where it was a semi-open stadium, where it was closed off all the way up until the focus on the ring itself. That was the only open part. So you could still enjoy Shawn Michaels' explosive ass entrance while still getting the visual of watching Air Force zoom the fuck past on the top.
Yep. Amen. And so that I felt kind of killed a little bit of the pop of this particular match. Was that lost sound, because the crowd was into it. I could feel it, but I just wasn't getting that full feeling that you get from inside like a dome or a partial dome. Like I guess we'll see if my feelings are correct with Allegiant Stadium, because I don't think they'll have well, they might have it closed, they might have it open, or they might close it early and then open it late and do it like that. But because of the way that it's domed, the sound will reverb and sound a little bit better. And for those of you who don't understand what I'm talking about, you'll see what I'm talking about come then.
It makes a difference. The audio coming in makes that difference. It does.
So, all right. So now on to what was effectively the first of two main events.
Yes.
Kenny Omega, the belt collector, takes on and retains against Orange Cassidy and Pac. A match that I felt was set up well. I felt the story was written well. I like the fact that they wrote the whole incident with Pac accidentally knocking Orange Cassidy out into the storyline. Like I do like that fact. I was just impressed with this match all the way around. I truly was. Pac came off looking strong. Orange Cassidy came off looking like a beast. And Kenny Omega still walked away with the belt. I couldn't have asked for more. I couldn't have asked for more.
Physicality and storytelling wise, this is, in my opinion, already top 3, top 4 match of the year candidate. As of right now, where it stands, this is definitely easily in the top picking for me, because it was such a well put together fucking match. You had the character of Pac and Cassidy and Omega bouncing off of each other, literally and metaphorically, in so many fucking ways. And so, man, I love Pac's work. I fucking love Pac's work. But I do kind of find it a bit ironic. 6 months ago, they were like, Miro, where'd you work with Pac again? You worked with him in WWE. And he was like, never again. And they're like, why? And he was like, because he broke my ankle. And if you remember, the worst injury that motherfucker has ever sustained was when he broke his ankle with Neville. And I didn't see that as a disrespect for anything. And I do find it a bit ironic that a few weeks later, Pac just knocks Cassidy out fucking cold as night in the middle of the fucking ring.
Oh my goodness.
Cold as night, middle of the fucking ring. And so that's not a hit on him, but that's just something that's been brewing in my mind for a little while.
I don't blame you. Even though, I said, man, there were some, oh shit, is he okay moments? Like, I want to say it was Kenny Omega hit like this, like Falcon's arrow type. Like whatchamacallit on Orange Cassidy. And I swear to God, from the angle that the cameraman shot it looked like Omega's or Cassidy's head was below Omega's ass, and Cassidy's head made contact with the thing first.
The fucking mat.
And I'm like, either that boy's built like Jello or I missaw that. I don't know, but fucking A. What the
Thank you
hell
for
was that?
bringing that up. Let's rail with that now, because
Yeah.
I want to talk about the fucking selling of Cassidy.
Yes.
Cassidy, in my opinion, sells just as good, if not better, than Liv fucking Morgan. And I
Yeah.
understand that is a weird way to say it, but I can promise you, if you look at the way Liv Morgan works, she is the best fucking female seller right now. Because when Liv Morgan gets hit, she looks like she's fucking dying.
Nope.
When Liv Morgan got hit by Ronda Rousey, she sold that shit like she was going to the fucking hospital, and it was wonderful. And Cassidy did great at looking like Omega and Pac were fucking killing his ass. Cassidy sold like a fucking Shawn Michaels octopus. It was wonderful. I love it.
Well, okay. Well, and speaking of that, it led to one of my favorite moments of Dynamite, and that's the moment in the scene when Kenny Omega hits him with and God, I got sick and tired of JR Sam V Trigger. Like,
God,
I was just like, dude, just stop. Just stop saying the name of the damn move, because I get what it is, but I'm tired of hearing you say that.
I get it. It's a Street Fighter reference. I get it.
Yes. When Omega hits him with a couple of knees, and then he backs up to hit him with the V trigger, and Cassidy just goes, hold up. And he kind of like,
literally,
and then just falls over. Like, that moment for me was just like, okay, that was pretty fucking cool. Like, what? It reminded me
literally of Terminator levels of like, put the hands in the pockets.
It reminded me of old Rick. It reminded me of old Ric Flair.
There we go.
When he used to stomp him, and he'd stumble out and just poof and land face first. Like, it reminded me of that. And bravo to Orange Cassidy for calling back to that without specifically doing it. You know what I'm saying? Without doing the specific bit itself, he called back to that, and that was just amazing. I
called to the format,
I also noticed this something, because like I was like, first I was stupid and I asked Google, how many belts does Kenny Omega have? And it was like, he has 4 belts. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's the wrong fucking question. Like, I don't want to know. Obviously, the man's carrying 4 belts, but I'm like, this man has not gone to 4 promotions and 1 belt. And then I was like, how many world championships does Kenny Omega have? And it was like, Kenny Omega has 3 world championships, and it lists
there we go.
AAA, Impact. I forgot that Rich Swann had that unification match.
Yeah.
With Moose, and unified the 2 different Impact World Championships. But I thought at some point they were going to consolidate them into 1 belt. But I guess since Omega's doing the belt collector gimmick, it looks better if he holds the 2 belts as opposed to 1.
Yeah, it's a unification, and as you know, Impact is very familiar with using 2 belts to unify as 1 symbolized belt.
Yeah,
and so I'm not too surprised in that. But yeah, it is 4 belts, 3 championships.
3 championships, yeah. But congratulations, Kenny, on retaining your AEW championship. I have a feeling that's going to be the one you hold on to the longest. I feel like he's going to drop the AAA and he's going to drop the Impact World Championship before he drops the AEW championship. But we'll see how that rolls.
Oh yeah, I agree.
All right,
now let's put the cap on the shit.
Yep, I'm going to get out of this screen share and let's talk a little Stadium Stampede, my friend.
Oh, wow.
Stadium Stampede. Shit. I was going to say, do you have some light? You're getting a little
dark.
I
was going to say. I did not notice that because of the screen was share. Hold up.
There we go. And John said, "Let there be light."
Let there be light.
Or my favorite line that I say a billion times from my favorite movie, Aziz, light.
Light.
For those of you who don't know, that's a Fifth Element reference.
Yeah, Fifth Element.
All right, so a lot of this match was pre-recorded until we got to the finish, which I thought was pretty cool. The fact that they brought it from what was obviously pre-taped all the way back into the real Daily Center situation. But love the fact that Conan was a part of it.
Yeah, fucking Conan, cool. The fucking man.
And actually got involved, like actually helped out stop
like physically,
matches. Yeah. I was like, all right.
Conan.
I would say my favorite part of all of it was the Jake Hager Lance Archer battle, or not Lance Archer, Wardlow battle.
Wardlow.
Like I like that. Like yeah, I liked it even more than the Jericho MJF. Like that was good, but watching those two big men beat the holy hell out of each other was very nice to watch. If you want to continue on with that feud, I'm here for it. I'm all here for it.
I like that. I really wanted to like this match more than I did. And it's not that I'm thinking about what if, it's that I loved this match's whole setup. And I liked that they deviated from the last version without disrespecting it, while paying homage, bringing in new elements. They did a great job of that. And of course, the Inner Circle being the only one to do this twice, awesome roll with here. I like that. In my opinion, with this being their first big show with people back, I feel like they should have capitalized on that shit to the nth degree. I liked watching the pre-recorded product roll into the in-ring segment and watching how that in-ring segment boiled down to the two of them, and that was the finish. And I like the fact that you have to go to the ring to finish the match. I dig that. I feel like they would have benefited more if they all made it a huge point of fighting, maybe not directly in the crowd and between the fucking people, but maybe if they had some amount of spots that really had to do with the capacity crowd, moving out in between the stands, maybe doing anything, even one thing, I feel like would have given me that satisfaction, because this, in my opinion, was AEW's chance to fucking explode. And I don't mean like popularity. I mean, this match was their moment to do something, to like to really fucking show up tomorrow on the dirt sheets. Give me something to fucking read, right?
Put their watermark on wrestling history.
Put their watermark on it, right?
Yeah.
This should have been that moment. I would have really liked to see something more, but I fucking loved the physicality between Hager and Wardlow. I fucking loved Conan showing up. Jericho, as he usually does, doesn't make anything bad. And
not a damn thing.
At least they're being consistent with the system of running MJF as the biggest conniving devil's advocate. So you know what? At least they're staying consistent with it, at least in my opinion. Right? So at least they're fucking staying consistent with it. And so I liked the points, and I liked so many points of the match. I really did. But fuck, I really wanted to see them capitalize and explode on this shit. I feel like, especially after watching them get mocked so much over the past few months of the last few events within the company, not to say they're doing bad, this was their chance to make a mark and be like, you know, we're that fucking product.
Right. Like All In was when they arrived.
Yeah.
Like All In was that pay-per-view that just really told us AEW has arrived. They are here, and they're, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, and I definitely feel you on that. Like this was their chance at that moment, and I felt that the match left you wanting. Like not that it didn't give you a lot of great matchups and a lot of great moments. It just kind of left me wanting. I do like the fact that Sammy Guevara is the one to go over. It's called star building for a reason, and AEW is walking that road with him very well.
I agree.
I was highly impressed with him and him finishing that match in the way that he did. And bravo to Sean Spears for selling the way he did, even down to the last minute. And no, before he hits him with the finish, you know. But I definitely walked away from that match like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad
it was
Inner
okay.
Circle won though. Yeah.
It was okay. I feel like it needed to be great.
Yeah. One more thing I'll mention before we move on to the WWE cuts to close out. I wasn't impressed with the second golf cart segment. Like I expressed that to you earlier today that like I just didn't feel it was needed. Like not that it wasn't a great way to bring in Sammy and you know and Sean Spears for their great finish, but I just felt it wasn't needed. Like that was something that was from the last moment, you know, or from the last Double or Nothing. So or Stadium Stampede, it should have kind of been left there. Like,
I agree.
So I don't know. That's just kind of how I felt about that moment. But
I really, I wanted that to be. I really wanted to enjoy that as much as I enjoyed Kevin Owens fucking plummeting Roman Reigns across a golf cart and loving it. I wanted to enjoy it and mark out and point at the TV like Patrick Starr like that.
Yeah.
Just wasn't. And it sucks. And you know what? If you want to do something crazy, the next step is the Jericho Yacht 5-man match. That's my pitch. On the Jericho cruise, you give me a match like this, but on the fucking cruise. I want to see motherfuckers thrown across fucking catering tables on the boat and shit like that.
I'm here for it. All right, so let's get to the big news of the day. Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
WWE releases part 2. This time in fall. Some names you might know. Big Braun Strowman
is the most surprising.
Yep. Want to say Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Lana, or Rusev's wife, however you want to call her.
Yep.
And Santana Garrett. I think she was the one that's like people were least like surprised or even cared about. Most of the posts that I saw cared more about Braun and Aleister Black
Everyone
than they
else,
cared.
right?
Yeah. So why don't you kick us off with this final segment? Quick hot takes on your thoughts on maybe some of the inside of what you may think went on with why these guys got let go, or even just your personal thoughts on them being let go.
As a whole, I think it's incredibly apparent that the people writing the show day to day are not the people letting these releases happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because regardless of how anyone might feel about these releases, it is confirmed that as of Friday, a couple of days ago, there were plans for Santana Garrett and Aleister Black. Not like, oh, we're high on them backstage plans. No, I'm talking plans set in stone for them.
Long term.
Long term. And I find that worrying. But for the most part, a lot of the writing was on the walls for these. And it is sad to say. Buddy Murphy is the young up and comer, in my opinion. He is the young up and comer out of this whole crop. And he's aware of that. He said that, he hasn't hit his peak yet. So I'm happy to see him go and do what he does. Tommy End was already well known on the indies, and I was a huge fan of him. But I remember watching Aleister Black debut in TakeOver against Andrade before he switched gimmicks. And it was so fucking memorable. And it didn't really hit me in the chest until I was like, no, I remember sitting down 2017, the night before the Royal Rumble, watching that TakeOver, and I watched Aleister Black debut to a crowd that didn't know who the fuck he was. And then 6 months later, Aleister Black was the ass and tits of NXT. It was fucking great.
Oh shit.
But the most surprising is definitely Braun, for the reason being that he was obviously he had the most put into him financially and time wise. Yeah, there was so
just
much
on WrestleMania Backlash in the main event for that with W 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. Not even 3 weeks ago, he was in the main event fighting for the world fucking championship. There was a lot of things leading to this that I don't think people really are talking about. Braun has talked about how he has an intense amount of body dysmorphia happening right now, and it's why he's lost so much weight and has compounded to so much lean muscle. He's talked about wanting to go back into bodybuilding tournaments again, maybe as a result of this. And so what I have been telling people is what I've told you before. This might not even be set in stone. We've seen Jericho and other people do it a million times before, and Vince is always willing to work with people. So if Braun was simply like, hey, I'm going to go take a break for 6 months, boss. I'll be back in 6 months and we'll do this again. It's completely possible.
Yeah.
But I have also seen people like Billy Corgan express interest in it. Go ahead, though.
Oh, no. I was going to say, here's the thing I'm looking at with it is I genuinely think that Braun was let go less for anything he did in ring or any type of reasoning, and just more for some personal, probably like you were talking about body dysmorphia or some behind the scenes reasons that we don't know that we're probably never going to be privy to. I think that because when you have releases happen suddenly like that, it's normally because something came up. And like you said, I think it may be that, and you, like you said, it leaves the door open that Braun may come back. Everybody's like, oh, I had an argument with this dude about work conditions at WWE, and he's just like, "Oh, they treat everybody like shit." Blah blah. I'm like, "Wait a minute, dude. Last year, Braun was just talking about how he wanted to retire with WWE. That doesn't sound like a dude." And he got the lucrative contract he was hoping for, making over $1 million a year. So, like, I'm not understanding. Like, if WWE is such a horrible fucking company, then why do all these wrestlers continuously re-sign? I was like, why are there people? Why is AJ Styles saying, "You know what? I've reached the pinnacle of my career.
I'm retiring here.
I'm retiring at the end of my contract." Like, why do people make statements like that if WWE is such a horrible place to work? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say VKM ain't done wrong because, he does a lot of shit wrong. But obviously, there 300 employees, and I'm pretty sure that if any company that has 300 or more employees, you can find some disgruntled employees. You're gonna find employees who feel like they got left behind. You're gonna find employees
a lot of fucking opinions to account for. And guess what? When you're the head of $1 billion company, not every one of those mouths is going to be the one that says the smartest shit for your business model.
Exactly. And so to me, it cracks me up when everybody blames, like, "Oh, well, I'm glad Braun Strowman got let go because WWE didn't know how to use him." The man's won the Intercontinental Championship twice, the Tag Team Championship once. He's a Universal Champion. He was just, what do you mean they didn't treat him right? They're like, "Well, Aleister Black, Vince McMahon just didn't know how to use him." Okay, look, I get you.
Yeah,
I get you. But my only defense of WWE would be this. His return on SmackDown, and I stated this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it, his return on SmackDown did not necessarily move the needle ratings wise.
Yeah.
And so
sadly, that's what's going to matter to them.
Exactly. And so I'm like, I get it. We all liked Aleister Black. I hated to see him go. I wanted so much more done with him. But I also think, and here's what people fail to remember and fail to talk about, injuries derailed a couple of different pushes for Black earlier in his WWE career.
Very true.
So not all of it is on WWE's bad booking. They had plans to put championships on him when he got to the main roster, and unfortunately a couple of times before the push really got started, he got injured and was out.
Yeah.
So you can't. Yes, WWE does some fucked up shit sometimes to some people, and there's all these wrestlers that have these stories. But come on, man. At some point, we got to lay responsibility in the laps, a shared responsibility in the laps of the company and the wrestler himself. And guess what? Aleister Black has the ability now, if he wishes to, because he didn't leave WWE on bad terms. They didn't release him because he bitched and whined in the media. When he wasn't on TV for a few months, he took that in stride. There's an opportunity for Aleister Black to pull, or Tommy End to pull a Drew McIntyre.
Absolutely.
Go someplace else, make a name for himself, win some world heavyweight championships. He's already shown he can carry and be the face of a franchise when he carried the NXT championship. Have him go someplace else, maybe bulk up a little bit, and then come back to the WWE still as Aleister Black and take his rightful place like Drew McIntyre has done recently. So don't sit here and tell me that these guys are all, I haven't heard a single one of them say they hate WWE for releasing them. All of the most visceral reaction I saw was Aleister Black, like, "Whoa, dude, I never saw this shit coming."
Yeah.
Like,
the most angry response that anyone got out of this was Aleister Black saying it came out of left field.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, Aleister Black has actually gone on record to defend the WWE creative since being released. Don't quote me on it, but I believe I saw somewhere that he had said something about, don't come at them like this. When I asked to go to NXT and they denied me it, they still told me, "We appreciate you taking the initiative to still get to work and do this, but we can't do that yet."
Yeah.
And so I hate this idea that he was punished for that. No, Aleister Black was not punished for wanting to go back to NXT.
Yeah.
Andrade might have, but Aleister Black was not. And, it's a lot to fit in. It is. It's a lot to fucking fit in. And if he wants to be at a higher place, then he can go and prove his worth and come back and do it again. And it's sad because that's the fucking reality of it.
Well, and also because Drew McIntyre isn't even the first of that story.
He's not.
You know, that story
that's
has
the most
existed.
recent.
Exactly. I'm like, that story has existed in WWE for a long time. People that were with WWE didn't really connect with the crowd, didn't really do this, didn't really do that, took off, made a huge name for themselves elsewhere, and came back to the WWE and lived their rightful good life in WWE and won championships and did big things. AJ Styles was on an episode of fucking Heat like years ago. And
D-Bry, Ciampa.
And so you can't tell me that Aleister Black can't be released right now and still go out and come back later, because not everybody that leaves WWE leaves WWE bitter and mad. You know what I'm saying? John Moxley, God bless your soul. You went off the way you did because you just weren't. It had been years. Like, John Moxley really should have, like, I agree. How do you say? I respect him for the fact that he chose to finish out his contract, but it was obvious via dirt sheets, via interviews, that 2-3 years prior to when he actually left, he was ready to go.
Yeah. At that point, he had started phoning it in by 2017, late 2016.
Right. And so you could tell he didn't want to be Dean Ambrose anymore. So at the end of the day, John Moxley came out bitter. I hate to say this because people are going to say you're putting it on him, but John Moxley came out bitter because he's an honest man, and he wanted to finish out his contract and you know what I'm saying, do the right thing that way, instead of fucking over his teammates and people in the locker room and everybody else by leaving, you know, and just cutting bait and asking for your release.
You're right. That's a great way of looking at it. You know, all things considered, he finished off his contract like a man.
Yeah. And so, but unfortunately, it created this anger inside of him that he lashed out with after he left. And so, but not everybody is John Moxley, and not everybody is pissed with WWE. And at the end of the day, they will all go on. And here's what people fail to realize, and always fail to realize: even if somebody's only been with WWE for a few months, if you make the main roster, if you're on a handful of episodes of Raw and a couple of good storylines, guess what? If WWE releases you, odds are now you can ask for almost double the money that you were asking for before when you go back to any indie promotion. Because you've worked on the main stage now. And if you say you
have that worth.
Exactly. You win a title or two at the WWE level, you can now go back and now you can look at a Tony Khan and say, no, this is what I feel I'm worth. You know what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, it can be truly beneficial for somebody to work with WWE, whether they stay there long term and live out their dream of a WrestleMania main event, or they only work, like I said, they only work for the company for a year or two and then get released. Either way, they come out on top. You know what I'm saying? Patrick Clark. Unfortunately, those rumors and all that are going to haunt him forever. But guess what? He's also going to be known because the Velveteen Dream will never be forgotten. As much as he may want it to be because of all the accusations that go behind it, unfortunately, that character was just too damn good. He was too damn good playing it. You know, and so people have to truly understand that there are downsides to working any job.
You're right.
But the upside of working with WWE, even for a short amount of time, can mean the difference between you getting paid $50 to do that show for your local wrestling promotion, and you getting paid $500 to do that show for your local wrestling promotion.
Wrestling is a weird respect-based business, and as such, there's a lot of cases where notoriety is going to be able to help you more than anything fucking else. And in the cases of people walking out of the big W, notoriety is your fucking debit card.
No shit. Look at the dude. I can't remember the guy's real name, and I met him. I actually smoked a fucking blunt with him. But the guy who was Papa Shango and Godfather.
Oh yeah,
we're damn near 30 years past the Attitude Era. This man is still doing indie shows with the whole train. You know,
because the posters that advertise his ass say we have former WWE superstar, the fucking Godfather.
Exactly. And so at the end of the day, I say this: it sucks that these people are gone. Hopefully they'll make their way back to WWE one day and live up to the potential that they truly have. But right now, it just wasn't their time, and they have other options now. Thank you, Tony Khan. Thank you, Cody Rhodes. They have other options and places that they can go.
Yep.
They can go to Impact. They can go to New Japan. They can go to AEW. They can go to go work with all three.
Yep. Hell yeah.
But any last thoughts for us, brother, before we sign this off?
That's it for me on that. You want to hit me with the first half and I'll finish this off?
Sure. All right. So y'all check this out. Next week, I know. Wait, you say next week? Yeah, next week. It's not going to be another 2 days for an episode. It's going to be next week. On Sunday, we will be talking. Have we decided yet? Yeah. Let's go ahead and hit with Howard the Duck.
Fuck it. Let's do it.
Let's do
Howard the fucking Duck. Let's do it. I'm into that.
All right.
Let's fucking do it.
We'll do some Howard the Duck. We'll probably talk a little bit more about how they're progressing the storylines.
We'll talk about we can talk about Bad Batch. We gotta catch up on Bad Batch. Throw that in there.
Doesn't Loki start on Wednesday?
Oh shit! It's June. Oh fuck! Oh shit! You're right. Completely slipped my fucking mind. You're right. Awesome. So now we can keep up with that too then.
Yes, sir. So we will be talking episode 1 of Loki. We'll be talking some Bad Batch, and we'll be talking Howard the Duck.
Yes.
So, well, and for those of you who don't know what that movie is, go watch it before you watch our next episode. We'll have plenty of spoilers, but it was one of the first Marvel movies, live action movies to ever be put out based off a Marvel comic book. And it was an amazing movie. I loved it as a kid, and the content of the movie was really like above my head.
Way
as a
the
kid,
fuck
but,
up there.
yeah, but I enjoyed it, and I still enjoy the movie. I bought the movie. I'm a little scared to show it to my daughter quite yet, but she's almost getting to the age.
Rightfully so. Oh man.
But anyway, sir, take us home.
All right, you know how it is, my people. We're here working on hot summer nights once again. Be safe, please, out in this cold world. And I promise you, if VKM is the anime villain of season 1, then the one standing on the top watching it all go down is John fucking Laurinaitis. Quote me on it. Good night and be safe, my people. Peace.
Peace.